Welcome to the SVG-TV news from Monday, June 17th. I am Khalil Cato with the details. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Meteorological Services says it is monitoring the newly formed tropical storm Brett in the central Atlantic. At 5 p.m., the tropical storm was located at 11.3 degrees north and 42.2 degrees west, moving westward at 21 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. The Met Office says Brett is forecast to strengthen and move across the Lesser Antilles as a hurricane later this week. The general public is asked to keep monitoring the progress of the system, and the next update is expected at around 11 p.m. Activities to commemorate Public Service Week 2023 kicked off today with a church service at the Wilson Hill Church of God. The activities this year are being held under the theme Participate, Appreciate, Collaborate. Delivering remarks at the service was Minister responsible for the public service, Frederick Stevenson, who expressed disappointment with the attendance of public servants at today's church service.
This morning, I'm happy to be here with you. But as I've said on the last occasion when I was here as the Minister of the Public Service, for 1 day and 2 hours out of your 5 days of work, we cannot have the church hall filled with public servants. Just one day and 2 hours. 2 hours in 1 day, sorry. And to have our civil servants come out to say thank you, God, for sparing our lives as public servants to see another year. We just want to give you the glory, we want to give you the praise. So we come out this morning to worship you.
While commending the public servants for their hard work and dedication in nation building, Minister Stevenson said there are, however, bad behaviors portrayed by some public servants on a daily basis, which must be dealt with.
But as public servants, when we come to work, we should not bring our problems from home to work. And you cannot take out your internal problems on the stakeholders and the customers who come to you to seek assistance. Leave that at home. When you get out of the office after 4:15, you have your personal issues to deal with it there. Not on the 8 to 4:15 period when you should be at work. I'm speaking this morning, honestly, it's just to say welcome. But I think that was needed. I had it on my chest and really needed to get it off.
Also addressing the church service was Minister of Education Curtis King, who said the government continues to implement policies to enhance the public service and to make the life of all public servants better.
You know, the civil service, I broaden it, is basically the executing arm of the government. And as such, the success of the government in transforming lives, in getting its policies in place to provide the sort of environment that would allow the nation as a whole to make progress in terms of economic, social, and other forms of development depends significantly on the work that you do. It is therefore absolutely necessary that you are in an environment that would facilitate that work. And as was indicated by the minister before, I can say that the government has initiated a number of policies to try to ensure that you have that sort of environment.
Public Service Day will be observed here on Friday. The head of the Public Sector Reform Unit, which is hosting the week of activities, Emma Jackson, said Public Service Day is to show appreciation to all public servants for their contribution to nation development. On NBC Radio today, Jackson encouraged persons to support the various activities planned for the week's celebration.
Yes, as our theme says, participate, appreciate, collaborate. We're hoping for the week that this is exactly what will happen, and not just for the week, but going forward, because we all have to participate in whatever activity or projects or programs that we have. We want to appreciate what we do with each other, and we want to collaborate in order to get our country further. So I want to encourage everyone to come out and wish everyone a happy Public Service Day on Friday.
The Public Service Speaking Competition, to be held on Thursday at the Methodist Church Hall in Kingstown, is another highlight of the week of activities. Jackson noted that while it was challenging to find participants for the competition this year, they are hoping to put on a successful event.
Somewhat difficult, somewhat. I think a lot of people shy away from speaking.
Yes.
A lot of people are not sure beforehand because we don't give the topics beforehand. So they're not very confident in themselves maybe, as well as the impromptu, I think, throws a lot of people off. But I think this is a good way to practice. It's another good way to, shine, understand, because there are things like walking your boss to the next meeting and trying to get a decision out of him in order to take on a particular action. When you participate in impromptu speeches, these are the things that it's natural that you have to do at work. You're asked a particular question at the spur of the moment. Again, practicing and understanding these things would help you as a person, help you as a public servant, and probably help you as a leader going forward.
Other activities for the week will include ministerial internship program on Tuesday and Wednesday, and recognition of public servants for their years of service on Wednesday. The activity will climax on Friday, Public Service Day, with a wellness and appreciation fair at the old Treasury Building site from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is in Accra, Ghana, attending the 30th annual meetings of the African Export-Import Bank. The meetings commenced yesterday and will end on Wednesday. The four-day event is being held under the theme, Delivering the Vision, Building Prosperity for Africans. In a Q&A session following the opening ceremony of the meetings, Prime Minister Gonsalves was asked what is required to build financial systems that can promote long-term growth to confront short-term economic shocks on the regional front. In his response, the Prime Minister Gonsalves noted that the case was already laid out at the opening ceremony that in order to advance and further ennoble the African and Caribbean civilization, there is a need to strengthen the material base of that civilization, which requires modern, competitive, many-sided post-colonial economies which are at once national, regional, and global.
Side of the building, the construction of this modern, competitive, many-sided post-colonial economy, the financial apparatuses are critical. And we have to disaggregate them between development financing, which comes externally, like for instance, through the World Bank and other international institutions, Caribbean and African development banks, and then of course, commercial banks and allied institutions. And they have different purposes, as the distinguished foreign minister, finance minister representative from Kenya just spoke about. If we begin with the last aspect, the commercial banks, and since we are here with African Export-Import Bank, I think we have to acknowledge that in an age of the concentration of capital, of monopoly capitalism, small, undercapitalized commercial banks are an anachronism. and small, undercapitalized commercial banks in an age of capital, where those small banks, in addition to being undercapitalized, have liquidity problems, they are a complete disaster. Yeah. So it is important that across the Caribbean and across Africa, where these small undercapitalized banks are, you have to have an amalgamation of these banks in order to be able to have the requisite level of capital in order to carry out the functions. To lend money, if you're undercapitalized, you can't lend a lot of money. Yeah. And if you can't lend a lot of money, Prof, you can't make money. It's as simple as that. So that's one area that you need to have a policy goal of amalgamation of small undercapitalized banks. And you have to get rid of all the vanities and all the national considerations and all of those things if you're going to be serious about this business.
Prime Minister Gonzalez said that the African Export-Import Bank is a prime example that when you build a large capital base with an asset of $32 billion and looking to rise to $60 billion in another 6 years, that with such a large amount of money or asset base, it can help to mobilize private sector activities or even some state activities. He also stressed the need to regulate development and commercial banks.
The point, you can't borrow at commercial rates of interest for developmental purposes, especially climate change related events. My brother, who had 500,000 persons, simply had to be removed from particular areas because of climate change issues. There's no way that can be dealt with other than by long-term development monies. You know, 45-year money is at half of 1 percentage point. You get that from IDA, the International Development Association of the World Bank. Yeah. It's the only way you can deal with that.
That's right.
Then we come to both the development bank and particularly commercial banks. How do we regulate them? The regulation is very important because people, when they put the money in a commercial bank, they want to know that it's not going to go belly up, that their savings are protected, which means you need to have proper central bank regulations. And it is very difficult to have very small countries with individual central banks. In the case of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, there are 6 independent countries in the Caribbean. We have a common currency union. We issue a currency. We have been operating this for over 30 years. I was on the Monetary Council for 17 years, for those 30 years. And our EC dollar, Eastern Caribbean dollar, remains stable against the US dollar. $2.70 Eastern Caribbean to $1 US. And through all the changing scenes of life, we have been able to manage this. And that is a great matter of importance. The stability of the financial system and proper regulation of the banking system. These are not ideas of either the left or the right. These are questions of arithmetic. And in fact, proper arithmetic defend the working people. Yeah. It's improper arithmetic, which the big bankers, they rip off all the money, they don't go to jail, and the taxpayers have to take care of the mess that they leave. They take their bonuses and they run, as we have seen in several banking disasters in the developed world.
Following his engagement in Ghana, Prime Minister Gonzalez is expected to move on to the United States and France. An employee of the Caribbean Agriculture Research and Development Institute, CARDI, has been found dead here in SVG. A news release from the police says investigations have been launched into the discovery of a partially decomposed body in a blue Toyota Hilux automobile parked outside the Kingstown Preparatory School. The deceased was identified as Gregory Linton, a 43-year-old of Dominica and Glen. Linton is known here for his work dealing with the black sigatoka, a leaf spot disease of banana plants caused by a fungus. The police say a post-mortem examination will be conducted on the body to ascertain the cause of death. Members of the public who have information that can help with the investigations are encouraged to call the Criminal Investigations Department or Major Crimes Unit at 456-1810 or 457-1211 extension 4837 or 999 or 911. The police say all calls will be treated confidentially. A person's fundamental rights should be protected at all times, and persons should be more compassionate to one another, especially those who are disadvantaged and vulnerable. This is according to a panel of professionals speaking about violence and discrimination affecting the LGBTQIA+ community here in SVG. The panel included clinical psychologist Dr. Alisa Alvis, lawyer Sherlyn Zita Barnwell, and Vinci Champ representative Marlon Young.
Starting from the point that I don't believe that people should be discriminated against regardless of sex, race, whatever it is. I also think that our community, and maybe that's my way of extending myself, that we need to be more compassionate to people who are vulnerable. And so that in its sense is what drives me. There are lots of areas. You talk about the same thing as Alyssa has said, women, children, the elderly, people who have, yes, I was about to mention, we say challenged differently or disabled, if you want to use that. And cutting across all of that, you have the LGBTQIA community, which then makes it even more special, so to speak, because it can be every single one of those things I've just said, plus that, and suffer great indiscrimination in the society in which we live. That's my interest. You know, I try to also, as I am growing, and not just I'm getting older, but people think, how could she say that? But growing spiritually, which is not religion, right? I totally have a different perspective on that.
Given to them. You're talking about where people are just giving you enough to control you, to ensure that the oppression continue. Also, when we look at our history, sodomizing our men was also an act of control. For example, in St. Vincent in Jamaica, most of our men that rebelled during slavery were brought before a congregation of people and they were sodomized. So when we look at all of that, where people have no total understanding of the Bible, and you talk about the ability to love one another as you love yourself, not really truly understanding, we're talking about where scriptures were isolated. And for example, we have scriptures in Leviticus where it talks about if a man lieth with mankind, he should surely be put to death. But before that, there was a range of sexual immorality that say the same thing, but nobody speaks about them because it benefits them in the end. So when we look at why it's so difficult, is because we are built on a society where true understanding of the principles we hold as moral high ground were never understood.
Given space or country, it says something about what can happen to anyone else. So we have conversations about the rights of LGBTQIA+ persons because it's fundamentally intertwined with our own rights, whether or not some people are cognizant of that or not, and then it ends up touching all sorts of other things, other people's mental health, other people's access to opportunities, right? So that's why we have to do it, because it's wound into our own freedoms.
Barnwell is one of 4 lawyers representing 2 Vincentian males challenging SVG's buggery and gross indecency law, which began in 2019. Providing an update on the court case, Barnwell said today was the last day for trial on the matter.
And recently, Barbados, there's some kids.
I think
Dominica,
Trinidad had...
Oh yes, let's not forget Trinidad. Yes,
no,
Trinidad.
you can legally marry there.
I don't know that. I think there was a chance, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There was an appeal to it. Oh. Right. So we wait until the appeal outcome. And Dominica is also in progress. Barbados recently had their decision, which was in favor of and to strike down the legislation. And St. Vincent, believe it or not, I think we were the first behind Belize. 2019, 2016, Trinidad, I think Trinidad, and then St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And we're
trailing last.
We haven't.
We're trailing last.
Yes.
We're in trial. We're in trial now. So our last day is Monday of trial.
This coming Monday.
This coming Monday.
In June.
Yes.
Pride Month.
We've had for trial days, and this is number 5 because we couldn't have it done in the 4 days that were allotted. And so we will complete hopefully tomorrow, and it will take some time for the judge to consider all of the evidence, adduce the trial, and all the legal submissions that have been filed. And maybe by October, so we may have a decision for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And you're confident that the team has put in the work?
Well, let me put it, people don't like to hear it. I don't think our case is different from any of the cases that went before. So I can't see how the decision is going to be any different from that has gone before.
The conference held at the Beachcombers Hotel conference room on Saturday was hosted by the Equal Rights Access and Opportunities SVG Inc., a group that has been set up here to address problems affecting persons in the LGBTQIA+ community. The nation's youth are being encouraged not to settle for less, but to push ahead until they reach their full potential. The encouragement comes from volunteer director of the Marion House, Jeannie Oliver, who was speaking on the Youth Assistance Program, which gives youth across the country the opportunity to learn a skill.
Ago about the role of non-governmental organizations. And I would like to encourage our young people throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines to badge in at the Ministry of National Mobilization and speak to the youth officer, the community development officer, and the gender affairs officer, and encourage them to come within their individual communities to ensure that youth groups, community groups, women's groups are formed and functioning, because it is through those avenues that they are able as youths to develop themselves and to get a second or a third chance of obtaining not only some life skills, enhancing their life skills, but also obtaining a specific individualized skill that they are interested in.
At present, 25 youths from several communities are enrolled in the Marion House program.
Well, the program this year started a bit late because we were waiting on graduation for the 2022 program. The funders themselves, their presence, because they had not been at the 2019, 2020, 2021 graduation, so we wanted them to be here for 2022. So we had to wait on them. So this program actually started in April. We're supposed to have about 25 youths from varying communities throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I think the furthest is down to Layou, on the leeward side, the western side of the island, and on the windward side or the eastern side is all the way from Connery. Well, for now we are into our life skills continuously since April, and once they are completed, 3 of them had gone off to their actual practical skills in Calico, and they were doing bartending. Some will go off from next month after Carnival in various skilled areas. But our life skills goes on until they go out to the Technical Institute.
A facilitator of the Youth Assistance Program, James Brown, said that the program has been a blessing to many youths across the country. However, he noted that the government and the business community are not putting enough resources into the program.
To understand who I'm dealing with. Sometimes it could be difficult, but you will have to make the adjustment. My thing is that I don't think that the business places and the government is putting enough into this program. The program is in demand because many of the youths who the educators in the Ministry of Education reject as right off, we have been able to redeem them and have them fit into the whole of work. For instance, SVG-TV is interviewing me this morning, and I'm very proud of that. And I must let you staff, members of staff of SVG-TV know that we were able to remove a young man and send him as part of your team. We have also been other persons working in the media, and we have worked with people who have gone off into the army, doing well. And we were able to work with persons who are now medical doctors from this program. Yes. Right? So we have a lot of success story. And some we don't really blow our own trumpet, which we need to do.
Some of the participants of the program spoke of their experience thus far, noting the importance of learning as many skills as possible.
My name is Eniola Fako. I live in Brighton. I joined this program because I wanted to learn certain skills to get jobs and opportunities around in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The program has been good because I learned a lot of things, educational-wise and other things in terms of field-wise or hands-on stuff. I will take some of the advice and some of these things I learn and put it to everyday life or put it to the jobs I want to apply for.
Good day, my name is Kirsten and I'm from Beckway and I'm 23 years of age. I travel the boat every day, come up to go to Marian House, and my passion is being a bartender, which I just finished a week ago. And I came to Marian House to get another trade under my belt, which I do barbering as well, to learn a trade, learn one or more trade, because there's work out there you can get, and don't be on the streets.
All right, thank you. My name is Radisha, but everybody calls me Roti, and I'm from Redemption Shop. Because I was at home doing nothing, and my mommy told me that I should join Marian House because I will get to learn a skill, and I decided to. I am doing electrical. I was just trying to be unique and do something that nobody else wants to do. I would tell them that they should think about doing over some subjects. Like if you didn't get all your subjects, there's places that you can go and write over subjects, and you can have a
Carnival Beat is coming right up.
All right.
From pageantry to the Soca arena, Shannon John, known by her stage name Kelly J, is looking to shake up the music industry to give underrated soca artists more opportunity to have their music heard across the country. Kelly J, who hails from Vermont, grew up in the USA. Her musical career started in 2019, and since then she has had several hit songs, including Mad Dem, Party Normal, and this year, Insane. Kelly J says she has always been a lover of soca music, admiring the talents of local artists such as Fireman Hooper and Skinny Fabulous. Kelly J recently shared with SVG-TV News a bit more about her journey into the music industry.
Give people a chance. Give people music a chance. Because I feel like there's so many good music from different persons within different communities that do not get heard because either friends are only playing their friends and so on and so forth. Friends are only booking their friends, and there's no variation every year. There's no variation, and I feel like we need to give persons a chance. And I just want to big up God. Yes, the Judge Soca Monarch may be long and lengthy because I've been told that there are over 49 artists. Yes, but how he did it, he grouped them in separate sections. So group A are all of the underdogs, all of the persons who have music that are not being played, but they are good music. And in group B, he have persons who are already established, like Grabber, Sun, Dose Up, Shatter. All of those men are in group B. And I just feel like persons should have a, equal opportunity to have some type of play, whether if it's on the radio, in ads, on TV. Everybody should have some sort of opportunity, not just the same thing every year.
On her creative process, Kelly J says that the lyrics to her songs usually flow through her mind during the early hours of the morning.
Do not have a creative process. If someone sends me a rhythm, I automatically do not know what I am going to write. At 2 o'clock in the morning is when I am not lying. When I feel like when your brain is at rest, is when you actually could think. Because during the day, I'm walking and I'm thinking about so many other things. What am I going to eat today? What am I going to drink today? So I don't have time. I don't have time to think about lyrics. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I get up to use the bathroom, and I'm like, you know what, let me listen to this again. That is when my mind starts to flow with things that I want to actually say in my songs. Sometimes I do get a little wordy, and not wordy, and my producers have to actually help me, cut out some of the words. But at 2 o'clock in the morning is when my mind goes crazy with lyrics, and I just put that into the song. And usually I come up with the chorus at first. Once I have my chorus, the rest of the song is like easy for me to like, okay, I'm gonna say this next. The chorus is the hardest part for me, but once the chorus is good, because usually persons, catch on to the chorus first. Once the chorus is good, the rest of the song is just easy.
Kelly J, who performed her hit single Insane inside our studio, shared the reason behind the song.
I think it'll be, they say we insane, but you not see nothing yet. You not see nothing yet, because reason being is because we will go out and people would say, man, or this crew would say, man, you better than my crew, or you ain't better than this crew. And you know what I'm saying? And behind the you not see nothing yet is like, boy, you don't even know. You don't even know what I come in with. You don't even know what fire I come in with. That type of attitude. I like that type of attitude. Because that is me too. Because when somebody tells me, oh, I can't do something, or I can't go here, or I'm unable to do a task or something, I'll be like, well, you don't even see nothing. You ain't see nothing yet. So that's my favorite line throughout the whole entire song. You ain't see nothing yet. I come here to behave bad. Move, they let me jam, jam, jam. They say we insane, but you not see nothing yet. You not see nothing yet. You not see nothing yet. They say we insane, but you not see nothing yet. You not see nothing yet. You not see nothing yet. So though they come to mash up, though afraid to mash up. We coming to mash up, though afraid to mash up. We coming to mash up, though afraid to mash up. We coming to mash up, I fed up. Nowadays in a jam, everybody on the phone and not getting on bad. Time to get back in with groove, grab a friend and start to move, do anything just.
Noting that being a female soca artist in a male-dominated industry means that you have to put in 100% effort and more, last Saturday night she competed in the Windward Soca Monarch competition. Facing off with 48 artists, mainly males, and although she did not place in the competition, she says this is not stopping her from shining for Vincimas 2023.